Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're talking about Inside Out 2. So Inside Out 2 is Pixar's latest animated film and is directed by Kelsey Mann, her directorial debut. She's taking over from Pete Docter, who directed the first film. And this story is set about 2 years after that first film. It still follows Riley as she's entering puberty. So of course she's getting some brand new emotions. You got anxiety, ennui, envy, and embarrassment. And so they've come into headquarters with puberty to kind of change things to make a new Riley. And the main new emotion that comes forward here is anxiety, who is voiced by Maya Hawke. And I think Maya Hawke totally crushes this role. It is really all about her trying to make a better Riley, so to speak, thinking that the old emotions, sadness, joy, disgust, and all of them are kind of outdated and they're not fit for a teenage Riley. And I have to say, for the most part, it's an enjoyable follow-up. It tells a new story while carrying on with the same characters in the same world. I think Pixar really has kind of nailed telling an emotional story that kids and adults can enjoy. And of course, as with the animation in most Pixar films, it looks great. This one actually looks better than the previous film, I can say that much. The amount of detail that they put into each emotion, like you can see even more that they're kind of like really made up of this little like powdery substance. Their forms are a little more human-like, especially Joy. I do think Joy looks a lot more human in this one than she did in the previous one, whereas some of the newer emotions, they look like creatures. Especially Ennui. Ennui looks like she has scoliosis. That's just not, she's almost like a snake turned into a person. But yeah, like the way the film looks is great. The music is great. I think where the film struggles most is directorial style and story. Since this is Kelsey Mann's directorial debut, I just don't know that she really has, everybody's got to start somewhere. I don't think that she has the films in her bag to make something as emotionally powerful like how the first film was. Because there's not a single moment in this film where I shed a tear. Whereas the Bing Bong scene in the first movie, even when I watched that today, I've seen that movie many times, I've seen that scene many times, I still cry. It is very emotional. It hits me hard. There's nothing in this film that hits that same note of, emotion. And I'm not saying there aren't any emotional scenes. There are some pretty emotional scenes. And maybe just because I'm older now, this is like almost 10 years later after the first film, I'm at a different point in my life. Maybe younger audience members will watch this and that they will see certain scenes and they will probably shed a few tears. But it just didn't touch me that way. There are some great scenes in this movie that definitely got a laugh out of me. There's a part of the film where the characters they're in a section of the mine that holds Riley's secrets, and we get to see this hilarious cartoon character named Bluefy, and he's kind of like a Dora the Explorer type character. Like he talks to the screen, he talks to the audience, the people in the crowd, they were talking back. My daughter enjoyed it, she was talking back. So that's a funny scene. Another character we meet here is Lance Slashblade, who's like this kind of Super Smash Brothers type character. And what they set up with him doesn't really pay off in the end, with like his special attack and like how he kind of disappears off screen and really doesn't come back. And I wish they did more with that character. But yeah, like I said, there are definitely some laughs to be had in this film. And the returning cast is still good. You got Amy Poehler back as Joy. Definitely got a huge pay raise for this. She's fine. Lewis Black is fine. All of the old emotions are there, and they are fine. Now there is another emotion that we see sparingly throughout this movie, and that is nostalgia. She's like this old woman emotion, and like she even has rose-colored glasses. Her very small scenes are really funny, and it leads you to believe that, and she's supposed to be like the basement or whatever because it's not her time to come out yet. So that leads you to believe there are even more emotions down there that the adults that kids will have once they enter adulthood. And they almost kind of also lead you to believe that some of these emotions will disappear. And that leads me to my biggest problem with this movie, really like my only major problem. They didn't do a good job at handling where those emotions are for the adults. Like, we get to see the adult versions of anxiety in the mom and the dad, but we don't get to see any of the other ones. And they don't really explain like where anxiety has been this whole time. Like, why were there no anxieties in the first film? The reasons for that is because they didn't know they were going to get a second film and they didn't know what other emotions they were going to explore. That's the real reason. But in the movie, I need like a better explanation about why we didn't see these emotions before. Like a camera pan to the side of like, oh, they were here the whole time. Something like that. But I think this film will do well this summer. I think kids will enjoy it. I think you should take your kids to see it. I do think older kids, like your teenagers, will understand a little more than your younger kids. But again, I am interested in seeing the third film. I kind of want to see where they're going to take this story with Riley next. But those are my thoughts. Like in terms of a score, I'm going to give Inside Out 2 a decent 7 out of 10. And that's just me. Like it's enjoyable, but it's not anything life-changing. I'd like to thank you guys again for joining me for this movie review. Remember, you can watch the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.